Hello and welcome to the Heresy Lodge. I'm your host, Dylan Cooper, the constant host over here.
Gavin Franklin.
Guys, right here this week to do like a mix of a preview slash review because I can catch you up on the last book in about 5 minutes because that's how much plot moved. And if you're like, it's been a year, I decided I'm finally gonna read volume two. I need to know what happened. I'll tell you what happened. A whole lot of fucking nothing. But hey, we'll get to that in a minute. As always, hit us up on Discord from that pin to our Twitter at Heresy Lodge. Email us at theheresylodge@gmail.com. Find us on YouTube at the Heresy Lodge. Buy merch. It's the new year, new you, new merch. We didn't make new merch. You
Same merch.
it's same
Same merch.
merch.
New you with old merch.
New apparel for you.
Yeah.
Gavin. New year, new beers. What you got going?
I don't have a beer.
Well, shit. New something.
I'm telling you, man, one of the things I've gotten into is making cocktails. And I started very poorly. And now I think I'm being promoted to like bar back status. I'm giving Connor a run for his money. Official bar back. This is a long drink process. I'm gonna be making a smoked old fashioned.
Ooh, Mr. Fancy Pants over
Yeah,
here.
it's gonna be absolutely crazy. Let me pull this over here. And the only reason I'm doing this is because I don't have a lot to talk about with this book. It's kind of a pain in the ass to read. So here we are. All
How
right,
far are you, Gavin, in the book?
200, page 200.
That's about where I'm at, man.
Yeah. All right. Every old fashioned starts with a cherry. That's how you got to do it. This is the best old fashioned I've ever had, by the way. I make the best fucking old fashioned I've ever had.
I feel like you just lived to try to see if your head can possibly get bigger.
I'm telling you, it's the best old fashioned that exists on the market. You can't buy a better one
On the market.
on the market. So I like to do this. A lot of people don't do this in old fashions. I muddle the cherry. I don't know. I think that's better.
I mean, it really gets the cherry flavor.
Yeah, you kind of like want to get the whole cherry in there. Okay. Then simple syrup. I don't really measure things anymore. I'm too professional to measure things. I just know. I'm just
Yeah.
that good.
By eyesight. Eyesight.
And I also don't own a measurer. So
That's fair, I guess.
we're gonna do like some dollops. You,
Yeah, that's about an ounce.
you want to do like, I don't know, maybe a little bit more. You really want to do like a fourth simple syrup
Gloves?
and then like a fourth or three-fourths whiskey bourbon. So I'm just gonna stir it. That sounds great in the mic, I bet.
I actually didn't hear it at all.
Sweet. All right. And then I don't know. I think you're gonna add some more simple syrup. I just
So
don't
what
think
Gavin does to make a good old fashioned is he puts as much sugar in it as he possibly can, so you don't actually taste the bourbon. It
a
just
lot of
cherry
sugar.
cherry sugar.
Then you get the bourbon in there. I think that's pretty good. That's a pretty large amount of bourbon, but that's fine. All
Well,
right.
you also put a large amount of simple sugar in there.
Exactly. That's the point of the amount of simple sugar. Now, I had this ice cube resting on a paper towel, which means it has paper towel on it, but that's okay.
It's extra flavor for
The simple sugar.
yeah. It
All
just
right.
absorbs it.
This is the cool part. Got the ice cube in here. I'm going to open up the smoker. All right. This is important. So,
You have to turn on the YouTube, by the way, to really experience this with me.
the bottom part of my face. Okay.
That's
You
the best
gotta,
part of your face.
I'm going to use some hickory wood chips. I like hickory. Oh, crap. You know what you have to have in an old fashioned that I already forgot about?
The orange,
Bitters.
the orange bitters.
Can't forget the bitters, which is fine. I normally do walnut. I don't know. I've got an
Really?
assortment of bitters. They have cherry bitters, but like the old fashioned already has cherry in it. So it's like, I don't know, do something else.
Fair enough.
Then you stir it. That's why you stir it, is the bitters ultimately. You don't want the bitters
He's
sitting
a,
on
he's
top.
a, you're a stirred, not shake type of guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Not for old fashions. You definitely want to stir it. All right. This is the cool part here. You get the hickory chips. You put it in the top. You put it in just a little bit. I don't want to stand up because I don't want you guys to just see my crotch. I don't want to
You're not
embarrass.
trying to show off tonight?
I'm not trying to show off. Let's see. This thing's pretty cool. As you can see, this show or podcast is not about Warhammer.
We've evolved. I can I can smell the fire from here.
I can, I can smell the fire from here. I wasn't expecting that. And it's, just kind of let it sit for a minute. Now, why I do that? I like to lose pieces of the cooking material. Here we go. Then you do the orange peel. I use a potato peeler. Here's why. I feel like I can really get the right length and thickness with the potato peeler. They sell orange peelers for cocktails. I haven't figured it out yet. I just do a cut right down the middle of the orange, not on the side, anything like that, just right down the middle. And then you just kind of twist it. So you should have a little hole right in the middle there. Oh, that's pretty nifty. You just pop one of these on. And then, I mean, I'm not even done. Best part, you got to get your ice stamp. This one says F.
So cool.
And then you stamp the ice.
Now it's branded.
And then it flipped over, so you can't see the F anyway. But there you go. That is a old fashioned in a US Open Warhammer's glass.
We are all blessed to have experienced that together. Feel like I really learned something new today.
You want to make an old fashioned? I'm telling you, it's a good one. It's a good way to go. I know, let's try it. So it works. Damn, that's the best old fashioned on the market.
I'm sure it is.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. How about you? What are you drinking?
Well, this year we are starting with some elephant tits. We
Oh
got the
yeah.
Delirium Noel. It is the Christmas special for this brewery, family brewery. That's what it's called. This one is not bad. I had it New Year's. Went ahead and popped open the second cork. That's how you know this one's fancy. It came with a cork,
Oh yeah. The best beer comes with corks, of course.
obviously, but it's good. I mean, it's not like 10 out of 10, but it's not like 7 out of
Yeah. Well, I was actually hoping that old fashioned would take longer to make.
10. So we're still gonna talk about this. So quick refresh from volume 1. The Emperor got to the vengeful spirit. Sanguinius got to the vengeful spirit. Dorn got into a desert.
You went
Oh
to a
no,
desert. How do you're probably wondering, wait a minute, fill us in more. How would he get to a desert? We don't know.
he's
He's
just in a desert. We have Constantine Valdor. He's on the vengeful spirit. We know this because he stabbed it with the spear.
and it said vengeful spirit.
Let's see. The Perpetuals are talking to Vulcan. Vulcan's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you're the guy that killed me, kind of, but brought me back to life." And John's like, "I did do that." He's like, "All right."
Vulcan
What?
stayed back because no one wanted Vulcan to go.
He has to protect the chair.
Like
Speaking
St.
of the chair,
Yeah.
Malcador's in the chair,
Yes. He
and
talks
we
a lot
get
in this
too
book.
much POV of him on the chair.
A lot of him on the chair in this book.
Ow,
My favorite
I'm in
part
pain.
of last book, now that I think about it, is when Sanguinius was supposed to stay on Terra, and then he went to the Emperor's like, I need to go. And then the Emperor gave a speech, but what I heard was, yeah, you can come. I just didn't want to say everyone but Vulcan in front of Vulcan.
Basically, yeah. What else happened? There's like stuff with the Dark Angels.
Their
Cypher's back,
Zahariel's there.
but we knew Zahara was already Cypher, but then he came out as Cypher. Cypher, Zephyr.
Yes.
They're on the Beacon
Zephyr.
Hill.
I don't know. I like
That
Zephyr.
they aren't lighting, which I thought the whole purpose of them taking was to light, and then I thought they lit it, but I guess they didn't light it, and they're just like, "Yo, Death Guard are coming now."
I don't know like what the plan is to light it. I can only imagine that it's like an Overwatch checkpoint that they have to hold for X amount of time while some psych.
Oh, they got off. Damn it.
Get back on, get back on. So I don't know like what the plan is for that. They plan to light it. I don't know what that looks like. Woken read a lot of books and then went through a door in a library to the Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah, and he got to that library because he just kept teleporting and he kept ending back at the library. So he said, "Fuck it, I'm going in the library."
You're probably wondering, wait a minute, fill us in. Loken can teleport?
We don't know
Yes,
either.
that's it. That's all we know. Going to random places. So that's Loken.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if anything else happened in the last book. I think that might be it.
Did Abaddon go back to the Vengeful Spirit in this last book?
No, Abaddon.
Said he was
No,
going
we're gonna
back.
go back. Horus is a dumb bitch. And then that other captain killed that other captain.
Horus got dementia and then reverted his dementia.
Heard it? Yes.
Like you had dementia for the whole book, and then he was like, "These idiots thought I had dementia." Well,
Dumbass. Listen to these idiots, Alton. Everyone's like, what is the fuck is happening?
you have Argonis sitting there like, "Oh man, this guy's fucked up," and then he goes, "I'm just fucking with you. I don't have dementia." Argonis is like, "Cool. You
Let's go, Malahurst.
still haven't done anything about the war." Hey, Dylan, you know the reason that they needed to force the Emperor to come onto the flagship in order to fight right now? What was the reason? The reason they had to attack, the reason they had to break through the walls, the reason that Dorne is defending it at every single inch.
Was there an actual reason?
Well, the reason was because Gilliman was coming.
Oh yeah, that guy. Who?
But guess what?
What?
Don't worry. The author invented a way to make that useless too, because now time doesn't exist.
Yeah. Just so you know, Gilliman was 9 hours away.
So how long till Gilliman gets there? Eternity. So who the fuck cares? Why would you do that then? Why would you?
Even bring it up.
Don't worry about it. You're no longer in a rush. Every book that you've read so far is completely useless because the entire plot driven point of Gilliman arriving to Terra doesn't matter. So everything Porto did, bullshit. Everything everyone did, dumb. Because it's
Yeah, all
book
they had to do
two.
was turn off their shields.
Yeah.
And the giant, spaceport weapons that destroy ships just miss. The ships just absorb the blow.
Absolutely. You know, like when the Scars retook the spaceport and you were like, oh, maybe the war is getting more interesting. No, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Forget about all of it. Hey, you know the story about how Sanguinius died to Horus? That doesn't matter either because he was already gonna die. Nothing in this universe matters. What you read today changes nothing because what you read tomorrow won't even account for it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. And it sucks.
I can't
But
even begin to describe my frustrations at this time thing. This time thing is so
The biggest ass pull I've ever read, I think. Like you're like, okay, like we have to put things on a time limit. Like they got 9 hours, or Gilman's gonna come and everyone's gonna fucking die. It's like, hear me out, hear me out. We're gonna turn off like all the clocks, just stop, all right, and like we're good. Like time can't pass if we turn off all the clocks.
all right, Dan. You have a book to write over a 9 hour span of time, and it's going to be action packed and awesome. Hear me out. What if it was like an infinite amount of time and I actually wrote more than one book? Dan, don't do that.
The Black Leopard's like, oh yeah, I like where you're going with this.
You have this amazing opportunity, Dan. You have the coolest shit happening in one book. It's going to be action packed from beginning to end. No, I'd rather draw it out and make three, not even mediocre books. Three. We
Bad.
haven't read the third one. So far, two bad books.
Right, we're only maybe a third.
Like in the Horus Heresy, the first book was probably in the bottom 10, if not worse. This book is like maybe the worst book of the entire series.
It's not good. And
So fun. 200 pages in out of an infinite amount because time doesn't exist.
actually, infinite amount, yeah. And like the time thing is just so bad. Like what makes no sense to me, right? If time stopped, how is everyone still just like doing stuff?
So, look,
What does time stopping actually mean? Like, what does that do? Because in my mind, if time is stopped, right? Like, are people still able to like do things? Like, is everything just slower? Is like what is time?
mhm. There, see, people are going to debate this forever, but I know I'm right. Here's the scenario. People are going to argue with you and say, "Oh, well, that's the warp, right? You can't comprehend it because it's the warp." When you're trying to write a book for an audience, your main tool set that you use shouldn't be something that people just can't comprehend, and therefore they'll just kind of fucking get over it. I think that's lazy writing. It
Yep.
really is. Like we talked about this. We watched like we were debating about a TV show recently. Your characters should be predictable, but your plot should be unpredictable, right? How
Yep.
you see this in like Game of Thrones is like the best example of this. We know Game of Thrones is a great book. How do we know that? Because it's like the most watched TV show of all time times 10. Like the
Fair.
next TV show is nowhere close. George R. R. Martin is a phenomenal writer. Characters are predictable, plot lines are not. So what's frustrating in this scenario is what the author does is invent all of these ridiculous tools like time and space don't exist. And what's even more frustrating in this case is he doesn't do anything with them. He just talks about them. There's 200 pages and not a single fucking thing has happened. And 150 of them have been talking about how time doesn't exist. I'm like, yeah, I fucking know because you keep repeating yourself. I feel like I'm not
Yeah.
moving.
But like, what does that mean, right? Like, everything like takes time. If I shot a gun, there is a time between where it's at now to where it ends. Does that just not happen? Like
Yeah.
what is time actually doing here?
I mean, it's a huge crutch because think about it
Is
like this.
Gilman just frozen somewhere? Just like, "Ooh," but everyone else is like, yeah, we're fucking fine. We're hunting.
Think of Valdor. So Valdor's storyline so far, he's got this scenario where basically the way the writing works for him is he counts the amount of seconds that they're fighting. Where I'm at, 200 pages in the book. Keep in mind, this is supposed to be a 9 hour span. He's on second 37.
Yep.
What? And then you look at like some of the other stories that are there, like Aemon, for instance, escorting Andromeda and escorting Bo. I mean, they're walking for at least 45 minutes.
Yep. And man, I cannot emphasize how much I hate the fucking Bo storyline.
I can't stand it. You know why? Well, I'm curious why you hate it.
Because it's a pointless story. Like
Yeah.
everything about it is absolutely pointless. Like his weapon doesn't matter. We know it's never used. The like what they're doing, I don't give a shit about. Like, oh, they're walking around and blah blah blah. It's like, oh wait, guess what? Like, yeah, I made a weapon that works, but like I could totally make like a better weapon that works even better. I'm like, cool. I
Let me,
don't care.
let me tell you why I hate that storyline. Dan makes Eamon look so fucking stupid.
He does look really stupid.
He looks so dumb. Like Eamon is getting played hard, not just by Bo, but Andromeda. And there's supposed to be this concept that like this weird ass concept that like Bo and Andromeda are like rewriting Eamon's DNA through like not like through warp, you know, they're not
Yeah.
psychers. It's through like talking, like they're manipulating him in some way. I'm like, how are you going to make custodians badass if you have them getting bamboozled by the world's most well-known evil person?
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. Like they literally go to Malchador's little hut or tower, and Bo's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna need to use his labs." And Aemon's like, "Oh yeah, after you, whatever you need."
Yeah, it's just like this is a character that doesn't need to exist at all.
Bo, yeah,
Yeah. I don't even understand like why he was introduced. Like he doesn't introduce an actual threat.
yeah.
There's no human that's a fucking threat in any of these.
I like. I don't mind Bo's character because I think he represents this concept of like the guy who is probably the most right now. And what's frustrating is he shouldn't exist because there's like a million characters that could have been that way,
Yeah.
but they all kind of went like a lot of the perpetuals are now just weird.
Yeah. I mean, this should be, I don't want to say like John
All
should have been, or
should
John
be
or
all.
Ol should have been the ones that like made a weapon or whatever, but their like hatred should be their driving factor, not this random guy who's just like, yeah, I fucking like hate those guys and I told you all so. And like, let me build this weapon that I'm just going to die before doing anything with.
If they had a better direction with the perpetual storyline and like was able to actually tell the reader what the goal was, I feel like
Yeah.
they wouldn't need Bo at all.
Yeah. It would make so much more sense if it was like Ol or John because especially Ol. Ol's one of the original perpetuals. He did not want what is happening.
Yeah.
Like him hating the Astartes makes sense.
Hmm. Hmm.
But we don't, John or Ol's just like, yeah, man, like, I just want to talk to the guy and like maybe I stab him, maybe I don't. I don't know. I haven't decided.
And then yeah, exactly. Like you have no idea what the fuck they're even doing. What's John's goal? John has was this character who went through like an insane amount of progression throughout the series over like where he felt his loyalty. And you ended up at this point where you're like, oh, John has loyalty to humanity. Now he's just some dude being strung along on an adventure without any say in where they go or what they do. It's all what Old wants. And John gets no, apparently now he has the power to literally destroy the world with words. And
Yeah, but
it's
he can
just
only
like,
use a word like once.
yeah. And so now he's just like, oh, I'm just a character who doesn't have morals, doesn't have values. I'm just a little side character for all to pull out of his back pocket. Why was that a choice being made? And then you got Bo's storyline doing the exact same thing with Eamon, who's one of the characters, by the way, one of the custodians we've been with this whole time. He was literally the main character in Emperor, what was it called? Master of Mankind.
Yeah.
Now he's fucking an idiot. He's an idiot.
Yep.
You're this Bo storyline, in my opinion, comes out of bad writing on the perpetual storyline, making them look like idiots, and now it's making Eamon look like an idiot. And I'm like, you're just making your characters look worse.
Yep. And I don't understand what the point of Andromeda is at this point either. Like Andromeda is a really cool character with the Imperial Fist and with what's his fucking name?
Cinderman,
No.
Archimedes,
Yeah, Archimedes, the third.
yeah,
Yeah, he's the third.
yeah, he's a third, yeah.
Like that was like a cool dynamic of this like super smart human kind of thing and a really smart Astartes and like
Mhm.
how they were almost like fucking like good cop, bad cop and shit. Like I enjoyed that. And now it's just like she's like, this geneticist who I was bred to hate, I'm actually gonna help.
Yeah, it's
Sure.
like they introduce like a problem that they solve with like no like actual solution. Like, oh, Andromeda is bred to hate Bo. Ooh, that's cool. That's a problem, but it's not. It's fine. Fucking forget about it.
No. And again, Bo, don't give a shit about. He can get killed. I'm like, oh, never saw that coming, I guess.
This is really what they should have done. At the end of the day, and like, oh, I'm not an author. I'm just a dude that reads books and thinks about it. And I could never. I don't think I could write anything near what any of these authors do.
No, you can
However,
write better.
I think I could probably storyboard better than most of them.
I
I'm not gonna lie.
have seen your writing. Can confirm, not great. However, you
Those
don't
were
have to
all technical
storyboard.
papers. I mean, I feel like I could storyboard stuff better. Like when we did D&D campaigns and
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
they were pretty good. But I'm not trying to brag. I mean, this is the best old fashioned on the market.
I will sell it all to you for $15 a pop.
What I'm trying to say is, think about this. You've got all of these random fucking characters that are humans. You've got Andromeda. Maybe you have someone like Bo. There's all kinds of really cool shit in the solar system, the Selenar, Mars. Fucking do something with those characters in that sort of realm that has an overarching big impact on the war. But they don't want to do that. No one wants to have an impact on the war because the whole scenario is you put an object or some sort of problem in front of the war master. By next book, it doesn't matter. It's gone. War master just gone. There's no permanent thing that sticks.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what would have been like way cooler? I would have loved to seen the Chaos Fabricator General and the Imperial Fabricator General like planning to like fight each other. Like I would rather have that going on. I would rather have what the fuck's Katsuhira doing? He's just chilling with fucking Keeler holding a baby?
He's watching a baby, dude. He's a baby dude now.
Like that's a character that should have a lot more going on, in my opinion. You have the two White Scar guys. You had the one that
Jubal.
yeah, you
No,
had
he's
Jubal,
dead.
and then you had the one that was with Ilya, who was like going back.
Oh, Ilya and yeah, I can't remember his name, but he's in this book.
Yeah. Not gonna do anything fucking useful, I'm sure.
Yeah. I can't I can't stand it. There's the chapters, some of these chapters in this book, they're called fragments. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we complained about this.
And here's what's so crazy to me. Now, this is nuts.
Some of them are fucking
I
long.
but here's what's weird. I look forward to the fragments now. I do. Because now I'm like looking at characters who aren't, it's not Malcador talking to himself. It's not Valdor counting how many seconds. It's not Dorn weirdly talking to Corn. I don't know why that's happening. It's like, oh, okay, here's this. What I'm hoping is like we get like actual progression on the ground in those fragments. That's what I'm hoping, but probably not. That's like the only thing I'm holding out for because this whole concept of they breached the eternity gate. And then we have a conversation with Ascalon and Ron Fafnir.
Mhm.
He's like, oh, how'd you get out? And he's like, well, eventually the world eaters just turned on each other and we left. It's like, oh, so did you guys not lose the Eternity Gate? We did, but I kind of got out of there, and now we're just fighting all over the place.
Yeah.
So what an undermining thing to do to Echoes of Eternity, one of the best books of the Siege.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so frustrated.
Yeah, and I also I still have not seen Sigismund.
Yeah, I don't think Sigismund's going to make another appearance.
It's
I think
been 800 pages now. And Sigismund, who has been a decently large character throughout the siege, is on a hunting spree for as the Emperor's champion. He's just fucking MIA.
he's on the cast list, but I do worry that a lot of the things that Sigismund does is going to be in his personal book, which is bullshit.
Agreed.
Can we talk about one of the more frustrating things to me so far?
Does it involve Ascalon being one armed and still killing a fuck ton of space marines? Because that makes no fucking sense to me.
He's totally one armed. He's just murdering a bunch of people.
That
I
makes
don't.
no fucking sense. You talk about how badass all these space marines are, and then this one dude with one arm is just fucking murdering a bunch of them. Like that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, makes
That
no
shit
sense.
drives me nuts.
What doesn't make sense to me, and I texted you about this, and I challenge any person who's like, these books are fucking great. I
I
fucking challenge you on this. How the hell? Who's the editor on this book? I've got it right here.
think it's like Lori something. I think that's who like does most of them.
Is it Lori Golding?
Maybe.
How do you tell? Where's it at? Is that
I
in
don't
the
know.
front?
Probably in one of the first pages. I'm sure there's a edited by.
Normally it's on the book.
I
Like
think
the
that's only on the book for the anthologies.
oh yeah, you're right, you're right. First published. Oh no. Oh, it literally doesn't say. The editor doesn't want to be known.
I don't blame them.
Here, here's the thing that like kills me. And this is just like it, I'm not going to say I'm a better writer, but come on. How does an editor approve 200 pages of nothing but internal dialogue, Dylan? 95% of what we have read so far has been people talking to themselves about what other people might be doing or what they feel about what might be happening to them.
Yeah, it's this just doesn't pass anything for me. Like there's like maybe the art is the only one that gets a passing grade.
Actually, the art's really good in here. I'm at, like, did you get to the part with that Dorn in the desert? That was pretty cool.
I've been mostly audiobooking it,
The
so I
art's
haven't seen
the
much of
art's
it.
very good. Actually,
I'm trying to find the editor now because it's gonna bother me.
it's either Nick or Lori, right?
Probably. And that's who would normally do them. Everything's so
Whoever edited this, like, you're the first line of defense to say, hey,
what are we doing?
this is a complete redo. It's so, it's all dialogue. How do you do all internal dialogue? Because the problem that happens is you get Malkador having internal dialogue about how he feels about the Emperor being on the vengeful spirit. And then you get internal dialogue of the Emperor being on the vengeful spirit. And then you get internal dialogue of Horus talking about how he feels about the Emperor being on the vengeful spirit. And you get nothing about the Emperor being on the vengeful spirit. It's all just like people thinking about it. There's no meat. There's no meat and potatoes of this entire book. That's why we can't, that's why this whole time, and this is what happens every time we do reviews. We spend too much time complaining. It's because nothing happens. I can't talk about shit because there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you this Reddit post about people complaining about this book, and one person's like, you know what a good author needs? A fucking editor.
It doesn't have an editor
I'm sure there's an editor, but not one that fucking cared that much, I don't think.
in dire need of editing. I actually can't believe I'm considering putting it down after 10 years of Horus Heresy. Dude, we feel you.
But this has been nonstop for 3 years.
It's rough.
Yeah. And
I can't believe that my favorite scenes of this book might be Dorn in the desert. That's how bad this has, and like Dorn in the desert isn't good. It's
no.
bad.
Yeah, it's not like a storyline like I am looking forward to at all in this anymore. Like I get the bow stuff, I'm like, cool. This is going to go nowhere. I get the perpetual stuff.
Dude,
I don't know what's happening there.
oh my gosh. This post right here, this is perfect. The best investment an author can make is a good, ruthless editor with a sharp knife. The end and the death book will end up being considerably, and when we consider all three of them, I'm talking considerably longer than War and Peace and the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. And I'm not entirely sure that it tells more story than either of those.
I agree.
Yes, that is so true. This person says, I enjoy Abnett's style and he's a good writer, but GW has a tendency to do a lot of side stories. I just skip them if they aren't supporting the main storyline. What's the main storyline anymore? No one knows. Who gives a shit? Skip all the books. Go right to the end. It doesn't matter. I bet you could read the last book whenever it gets released. You probably wouldn't be that confused. I am devouring the Siege of Terra, and so far it's been great. I'm very interested in where that person is right now.
Yeah, like the people that just like absolutely love these, I really want to know like what you love. Like honestly, like I truly want to know
Like,
because
give me a chapter.
I just want like a real explanation. Like because I legitimately have not enjoyed most of these.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like it bothers me. It really does. And I don't know. Maybe this is an elitist take. Probably is. You know me, best old fashioned around.
This that is the best old fashioned.
It bothers me the people that have extreme opinions that probably have not read all of these books, like
Yeah.
even close. And I almost want to like the first question I want to ask somebody is like, have you read this series? Like
Yeah,
I'm
and that's fair. Like, oh no, I skipped like here and there. I'm like, no, 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 no. We have been in the fucking crevices, all right.
in
We
the peaks.
we have, and you know what? Some of the crevices are better than a lot of those main books. Like, I would argue, I would rather read Battle for the Abyss than probably 2/3 of the books. Hell,
Dude,
Wolfsbane
I
sucked,
agree.
but it had some entertaining things. It was fucking better than this.
I agree. What's
Damnation of Pythos, which gets all the shit.
all of it?
Not a bad book.
Not a bad book at all. I agree.
Better than this. Better than
Oh
one
yeah.
before this.
Oh
Part
God,
volume
yeah.
1 and 2 is worse than Nation of Pythos. I fucking promise. And the first wall. And probably fucking Mortis.
I want to be honest with you. I think they shit the bed on the siege.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only ones that were like actually like good. We have Echoes of Eternity, Warcock, and fucking goddamn, what's that? The second one. It's
Lost in
the
the
one
Damned.
yeah, the Lost in
Lost
the
in the
Damned.
Damned.
Lost in
Oh
the
yeah.
Damned was the biggest dark horse. Did not expect it.
Did not expect
No.
it at all. So good.
Echoes of Eternity and Warhawk, I both had high expectations for.
They were great. They were great. Like some books, like I don't know, like the first wall was so middling that I don't even remember it.
I don't remember shit from the first wall. Yeah,
That's a rough take. That's a rough one.
I don't remember shit from Mortis either. Like honestly, like, these books are almost like a test
Mm.
to me. Like I read the
The,
book, I remember it for the podcast, and then it goes right out the fucking dump, and I start the next one.
can we talk about Mortis for a second again? Because there's a segment in this that I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
Sure.
what the fuck is this shit? We get to Mortis, right? And Mortis already, just from the title, just from everything, I'm just like, wait a minute. Didn't we have an entire book Titan death to prevent us from reading about Titans in the Siege of Terra. And then they're like, no, 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 we're gonna do this. I legitimately remember the line where it's like, oh, Dorn wants to have this battle here, so they don't have it on Terra. I was like, great, I get
That
it.
makes sense.
Like that's literally the author writing to us, like, we're doing this now. So
You're
people
welcome.
complain about it on Terra. Wink, wink. And then we get to Mortis and they're like, actually, fuck all of that and fuck you and fuck me and fuck everyone.
But hey, there were double flailed dildo titans.
What kills me is in this book, there's one of the fragments. One of the fragments. It begins the scene with, oh, bodies are piled 3 deep, 3 deep up to your chest. Hard to walk through. So many dead. And then that paragraph ends with, and they were all Titans. How many fucking Titans? 3 deep? What the fuck? What? What?
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
It blew my mind. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how many? What is happening right now? I think there's just entire like legitimate battles being fought.
Yeah, I mean,
Live
the
deep of
like
Titans.
the Martian houses are like famous because the strongest ones are because they have a Titan. The ones below that have knights.
They're like, no, everyone's got a Titan. You get a Titan. You get a
Yeah,
Titan.
like there are
The
not
War
this many
Master's
Titans.
fucking Oprah out there handing that shit out.
It makes no sense.
The amount every time I hear a Titan come up, and I'm like, are we not fucking past this? Stop bringing up Titans. I can't wait for the line I read that like, and they all died.
What's sitting in Horus's chair was not Horus. It was Mortis.
It was a Titan the whole time.
And out comes Sanguinius and he stabs it in the eye and it explodes.
The Spirit Telesto and the Sword of Incarnate.
And the
I'm
Emperor applauds Sanguinius as he lands.
I'm so fucking hard. Yes, yes, yes.
And then there's like another thing. He goes to Valdor and he's still poking things like, where the fuck am I? It's been 55 seconds.
I'm so glad you live, Sanguinius. None of the other people have any fucking idea what's going on anymore.
Some Dorn's in a fucking desert. He's fucking sitting over there in the corner this whole goddamn
He's
time.
drooling like an idiot.
Keeps muttering, it's been 10,000 years. It's been fucking 10 seconds.
But that's also eternity, apparently. Who fucking knows?
God damn it.
I want to bring this back up because I hate this. Sanguinius being deathly injured. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yep.
What a shit thing to do. Every time I read that, I'm like, fuck, I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, because you
hate
know it's going to be an epic battle between Sanguinius and Horus. And we know Sanguinius is going to die because he's dreamt it 30 fucking million times. But it's because he was hurt the whole time anyway. And it's such a
I
fucking cop
hate
out.
that. That's bullshit. You're right. You're 100% right. Because what they're trying to do is gonna be like, wait a minute, we can't have our blood angel sales drop 0.5% because people think Sanguinius is weak.
Also, oh, the guy that can fucking poke Titans in the eyes and they explode can't fight Horus, who has fucking dementia.
It's so frustrating because you're right. Everything that's being read, it's like Horus sucks ass, Sanguinius is insane. And this whole concept that it's like, well, we have to like injure Sanguinius in order to kill Sanguinius because we can't have people think Sanguinius died like a bitch.
So, what do you think will happen to the Emperor before he fights Horus? Because you can't. I mean, I guess he was sitting in the chair for fucking 10 years. Maybe that's
My
supposed to be it.
legs really hurt.
He
Fuck
hasn't walked in
no.
a long time.
No, I'll tell you. I know exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be a scenario where the emperor, before I think this is already documented, but I think it's already a cop out and bullshit. The emperor's going to be like, oh, Horace, like,
I love
come,
you.
come back to me. And then Horace is gonna bitch slap him. And then the Emperor is gonna kill him and slowly die from the bitch slap over time.
How dumber would it be if Forrest killed him and then fucking killed himself?
That would be the dumbest of all possible.
The perfect murder suicide. No one would ever see that coming. The Emperor, in all his grief of having to kill his first son, first founded son. I also really hate how they kept calling him first found. Like, are we gonna go and call Lehman the second found? Hey, 20th found. What's up?
So frustrating.
So fucking dumb. Like, I don't give a shit. All right, you already told us he was the first found. That's part of the fucking lore. This is established. Quit calling him that. It's weird.
This person wrote, hit the halfway point before I head to the store for some Blood Bowl. I think this book is going to be extremely dividing. I love the philosophy. I'm going to quote that and metaphysical aspects of 40K. This book has been great for that. But if you're the kind of person who gets caught up on realism, like complaining about how the numbers in 40K make no sense, or here for the battle porn, I think you're gonna hate it. Hey, look, I love it when authors talk about random shit being random because that's fun to me. But when you try to like hold authors to legitimate concepts, you're gonna hate that. You're gonna hate, like, I don't know, making an author own up to things that he said previously. No, forget about that. If you love the concept of just fucking not caring, then you'll love this book.
Here's
Fucking
one I
love
really
it.
like. This is from Dagger Day. I was afraid of this. Version 1 already had serious issues with Abnett crawling up his own ass to be epic, dramatic, and profound. The sequel suddenly being stretched in another book was a very concerning sign. Abnett needs an editor who has the balls to tell him no, to force him to stick to what he's actually good at, and the big dramatic saga stuff isn't it. Also, the takeaway is his damn thesaurus. He keeps using almost correct words, and it drives me up the damn wall. I think it was Hemingway who said big emotions don't come from big words. With as long as he's been writing, you'd think Abnett would have learned the perils of thesaurus abuse.
And I've really struggled with this. I've been thinking a lot recently about like good writing versus bad writing. And we've seen ups and downs throughout the Horus Heresy, like we said. And I feel like we have a pretty good like pulse on like, okay, and of course, writing and in reading is subjective, but I feel like most people, as they continue to read more and more books, will get an understanding of like, oh, it makes a lot more sense when writing is this way versus that way, right?
Yeah.
And I get this huge sense that this book is written, or all of these books are written very similar to Marvel movies.
I don't know. I've read some better graphic novels in these books.
I'm just saying that the concept of being able to pick up a book at any time and just run with it in order to appeal for the masses because of
Yeah.
marketing purposes, like these books are written with marketing in mind.
The thing is, though, they have a niche, and they can't break that niche, right? Like, no one just randomly is like going through the fucking Barnes and Noble is like, whoa, Mortis. I'm gonna read this randomly with no
Yeah.
other experience. And then they read that and they're not gonna be like, whoa, that was a good book. They're gonna be like, wow, I wasted $15.
What the fuck? And hours and hours and hours of my life.
Yeah.
No, it's rough. We
Like
talked about literally everything that happened. If you're wondering, hey, when are you going to get to the story? There literally is none.
everyone is still walking 200 pages in. This is
Like
the Fellowship of the Ring, but worse.
Well, at this point in time, they'd be done with the Fellowship of the Ring. They would have
That's
gone to the
fair.
Council of Elrond. They would have spent their 50 pages negotiating with people,
Yeah, that's fair.
and the book would be over. But
Yeah,
man,
it's
I just don't know. I don't know. I'm just, and what's terrible about it is there's not even moments to make fun of. We've had bad writing. Like you can give David Annandale as much shit as you want, but he does things, and
and
we
they're
can.
fucking hilarious.
They're hilarious as fuck.
We had
If
Ghost
those-
Rider, we had Dicks on the Inside, like that shit. Like it's a his storytelling is a goddamn acid trip.
yeah,
This is just like a snooze fest. Like I don't even want to read it.
I
Like I'm
don't.
at the point where I'm like, fuck, I have to like do something and read this book, or the podcast isn't gonna happen. And I'm like, fuck, fuck, fuck. I don't want to do this.
When you don't accomplish anything in your book in 400 pages, it makes me want to just put it on 2 times speed and fall asleep.
Yeah,
And
am
wake
I
up and be
reading the
like,
Bible right now? Like I'm
what
bored.
happened?
Like I
And
feel like I'm at
so is
church,
apples. Mm-hmm.
and like I don't know, like maybe like this is just Dan just like hitting his ego, like going just hard, like I'm the fucking best. Whew. Boy, you ain't. At least you know Graham's long ass books had him like things where at least people were fucking.
They were fucking. Like, hey, look, the storyline might be nuts and the warp might be nuts. Like, he's going to open up a warp wave that makes no sense. But
Even
there's
Graham's
going to
like
be a
worst book, I've
dick.
had moments where I've enjoyed.
There's going to be a dick that comes out of that warp wave. That's for sure. And you're going to be like, oh shit.
Yeah, I never even finished Angel Exterminatus, but I actually enjoyed the first half of the book. Fucking that other book he wrote that was dog shit with the Thunder Warrior.
This is the best post.
Oh yeah, here we go. Read it to
I
me.
actually think it's only halfway true. That the Abnett fans will not like this post. I struggle with all of his books in the Siege series. I disagree with that. I found so much of it to be self-indulgent. Look at my vocabulary flex. However, this is Dan's magnum opus. That's true. The man has been churning out novels for as long as I've been alive. I eventually just accepted it and gave him a pass. It's not worth the downvotes. At some point, it will all be summarized in a 4-minute YouTube video. I think 2 would do it.
I mean, we summed the last book in probably about a minute and a half.
Yeah, man. I don't agree. I think when we look at the past books in the Horus Heresy, Legion, I think Legion is Dan's best book.
Yeah, probably Legion, Saturnine, No Fear.
Yeah, no fears up there. I mean, they're great books. We've
Yeah,
had this
Unlimited
entire
Empire.
time. This entire time, we were like, Dan is the most consistent author.
Yeah, he's a consistent like B plus.
Yeah, and then he drops the fucking ball at the goal line. It's
Yeah.
like watching Josh Allen throw an interception in the red zone during the first playoff game of the season. That's exactly what you're expecting. It's so frustrating, and it's frustrating because it's the metaphysical concept that Games Workshop had to push forward. Dan started it, he had to end it. Bad idea. Dan was not meant to write this book.
No. I still think ADB, if anyone should have been
ADB.
given a multi-part thing, it should have been ADB.
ADB would have murdered this. And maybe they're listening. I mean, we were voted #1 for his Heresy Book Podcast. Who knows? Maybe the authors are listening. I doubt it. We're not that cool. But ADB would have done great. I think Guy Haley and John French, I think Chris Wright would have struggled. Chris Wright has a very specific avenue with the White Scars.
Yeah, I mean, We've also only seen him do White Scars. Apparently,
Yeah,
there's a Death Guard book he does too that's supposed to be really good, but everything's kind of always been like the same wheelhouse. I would like to see something out of that.
yeah,
But yeah, I think you're right. Like, I don't think like this would have been the time to test him. Like right here
yeah.
at the end of Echoes of Eternity, realistically, if ADB knew he had Echoes of Eternity and the End of the Death,
It would have been amazing.
it would have been something where like, yeah, Sanguinius probably kills Angron, and they close the gates. I don't think he has. I mean, he probably has to get them to the Vengeful Spirit. I'm sure that's something JW wants them to do for
Yeah.
some stupid fucking
Well,
reason.
I wouldn't be surprised if ADB finds a way to make it really interesting.
Yeah,
Like
like what
really,
if like they all like reconvene with the Emperor and their gate to the fucking webway transformed by the warp was a gateway to the Vengeful Spirit.
that would have been way more believable than what happened in this book. In my
All right, guys, we're just gonna fucking teleport. It's gonna be great.
yeah, man, it's so true. Like, okay, this is the thing. Dan Abnett writes good books. This was the worst of all of his books. And what should have happened was whoever was planning it, easy conversation. Dan, this is not the book you write. You do not. We look at all the books that Dan's written before, right? Burns was like a cultural battle scenario,
Yeah.
right? You look at what's it? No Fear, all war, all battle.
Yep.
Damn, we need you to deliver the culmination of all these things. Maybe not. Should have been ADB. I would give argument to John French too. I think John French could have done it as well. I'm also kind
I
of
know Solar
annoyed.
War wasn't very good.
Well, it's because I mean, a lot of times John French gets handed the shit
What was
story.
the other? He didn't he do two books in the Siege? Did he do
Yeah, first
Mortis?
wall. I actually did first wall.
First
You're
of all,
probably right.
yeah,
Yeah,
first of all wasn't great either.
got to be ADB. I'm very annoyed ultimately that they didn't give Graham one book. That's bullshit.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
I mean,
we'd have Lucius.
probably. Yeah, I mean, if any of them, first wall would have been better for Graham. I think.
Yeah, I mean, he wrote. Did he not do? He did Angel Sermonas, didn't he? Yeah,
Hmm.
I think it would have been great.
I don't know. Just a bummer. I
It's
really hate that it's come to this and it's floundered and it's just like, man, what the fuck did we just do for the last 3 years?
yeah. Henry, if you're watching, please reach out. I'll do it. I'll do it for free. Just one free hour consulting session. I will give you. I will prepare for hours all the information you need to create a TV show about this. My first suggestion would be don't.
But if you really want to, we'll start going down the
Yeah,
list.
we'll do it. I'll be a consultant on the side for free on the weekends.
Yeah. Well, guys, this is the first part of the End Death, Volume 2.
Part 3, subsection 4.
Subset, kill myself.
Oh, it's in that folder.
Yeah, yeah. So guys, we'll be back next week. Um yeah, I have a lot to read. We both do. I mean, I think you're probably the same boat where you just don't want to
Yeah,
because you're
we'll
not
probably
enjoying it.
this will be at least a 3-parter. It'll probably be 3 parts. Is what we're
Yeah,
shooting
I
for.
imagine probably about 200 pages each.
Yep.
We'll see. We'll get there, guys. We're trugging along. If you love it, please tell us why. I legitimately want to know, and I
Yeah, tell
want
us.
to almost argue with you, and
I don't even
tell
want
you
to
how you're
argue
wrong.
with you. I just want to know the mindset of other fans. I just want to be like,
What
what?
what goes through your brain?
I also want to know what TV shows you enjoy.
So you know what to avoid.
Yeah.
All furry porn.
Oh yeah. Well, Dylan loves that shit, so that
Yeah,
can't
let
be
me
it.
know. Let me know you're watching. All right, guys. We'll be back next week. As always, hit us up on Discord. Find to our Twitter at Heresy Lodge. Email us at theheresiolodge@gmail.com. Check us out on YouTube at the Heresy Lodge. Buy merch. Those are the things. New Year's over. There's no holidays for a bit. And the next holiday is like MLK Day.
Next holiday is when we get done with these books.
God damn right. I cannot fucking wait. All right, guys. Have a good one.